guys, and welcome back to the Amelia Knits channel. My name is Emily. I'm a knitter and crocheter in my mid-30s based in the north of Nottinghamshire in the UK, where I live with my husband and our 2 dogs. Sorry, I've got an itch. Close to Sherwood Forest. That was a great interruption to the intro there. You can find me on Ravelry, Instagram, Ko-fi and email, all of which are down below in the description box. And yeah, let's get into it. I've got a bit of a different video for you today. It's likely to be a bit of a waffly one, so I hope you're in for a long one. I've been so excited to film this. But anyway, yeah, we're going to chat about some autumn knitting plans, basically. Might well be waffly. Grab a drink. I've got a coffee just here, which is still a bit hot, unfortunately, so I'll be drinking from that throughout. But grab yourself a drink, grab some knitting, crochet, whatever you're working on, and let's talk plans. So, I have trusty old notepad next to me. I'm going to open this up so I've got my list. Although I think I've rehearsed this. I've been thinking about this so much that I think I have. Oh, I haven't got a project out. I need to find that. Okay, let me find that. Okay, project retrieved that I'd forgotten about. Okay, so I meant to say it's been really warm in the UK recently, hence why I feel like I look like a little bit of a mad woman today. My hair has just done whatever it wants, so apologies, this is the best it was happening today. I'm sure you're not here to look at me, you're here to hear me ramble and talk about knitting, and that we can do no matter what my hair looks like. So yeah, autumn knitting plans. I've never done a video like this before. Mainly because if you've been here for a while, you will know that I do a lot of test knitting and I do a lot of sample knitting, and I really do enjoy those. But that is what has led me to not really do many, or feel like it makes sense for me to do a plans video, because generally whatever I knit in a season depends on what test knits I sign up for and get, what sample knit opportunities come up, what impulsive cast-ons I put alongside that. But recently, you'll know, again, if you've been watching recent podcasts, you'll know I've had a bit of a shift in how I'm thinking about that, because I've been really overwhelmed, particularly with deadlines and things like that. I have been really overwhelmed, and I made the decision to pull out of pretty much everything that I had that was commitment. I've got a sample left that I'm working on at the moment for Blue Fern Yards, and I've got a couple of test knits, and that's about it. There is nothing else that I'm working on that is a deadline. Everything else is going to be completely, basically, what I want to do, and that's meant that coming into the next season, so we're just starting to come into autumn, which I'll touch on in a minute, I actually can start thinking about what I want to knit and what I want to plan to knit, and actually planning, which is nice. I've had so many ideas before. It's not like I don't plan, it's not like I don't have ideas of what I want to knit, but I don't have time or free needles or hands or brain space to get round to those things. So yeah, I'm really excited actually to have a bit of free time, basically, to be able to do this. And I've spent a long time thinking about what do I really want to do in the next season, and I'm so excited to talk about it and to get knitting on it, because I'm going to be doing that soon. So I'm filming this in, I guess, mid-August. I think it's the 16th of August today when I'm filming this, and hopefully it'll be coming out the same day for you guys to see. So I know we're not in autumn yet. We're getting into it. We've started to see the leaves changing on the trees. I will either put in a bit of footage now, or I will have put some in at the beginning of the video. I took some footage, that's literally this morning on the dog walk, and I'm looking out of my window and I can see the trees above my neighbour's garden are starting to change colour. They're not proper in autumn colours yet, but you are starting to see yellows and browns and oranges coming out. And the weather hasn't really changed much yet, although this morning it did, like, there's a bit more of a chill in the air, but we've had a really, really nice summer in the UK, like probably the best I can remember. My husband and I were saying the other day that we kind of remember summers when we were kids being like this, really long, really sunny, not really getting any rain, but then you don't know how much of that is you're looking back nostalgically. You were a kid, it was great fun, so we're just looking back nostalgically. But that would have been in like the early 90s, so maybe the weather was a bit different, maybe the climate was a little bit different. But this has been an incredible summer in the UK. We haven't really had much rain at all. We've had a couple of days of rain, but for the most part it's been warm, it's been dry, been a bit too hot. We've had a couple of days, we had a day this week that got up to 32 degrees here. That's very warm for the UK. I know everybody says it, I'm going to say it as well, and you're going to be bored of me. I know that is not super high temperatures for a lot of places in the world. The difference is our houses are designed to hold in heat. They're not designed to keep cool, because generally we are quite a cool climate. We also tend to get very humid weather, so it's hot and it's high humidity, and it's really not pleasant to be in. We went to the Dominican Republic, and I found that much easier to bear the heat there than here, despite the fact that actually I think it was much warmer there, because it's just so humid, and because we don't have air conditioning generally in our houses. We have a little AC unit up in the bedroom, but we've purchased that ourselves. They don't come fitted into houses as standard. Houses are designed to keep in heat. It's not been nice, hence, you know, the humidity explains this, why I look like Monica from Friends. But anyway, yeah, despite it being such a lovely summer, and I have genuinely really enjoyed it, I am ready for it to be done now. I'm ready for it to be over with summer knits. I'm ready to be into winter, autumn planning. And my thought process was, I think technically meteorologically, so weather-wise, I think technically autumn starts in sort of September, late August, early September. And in my head, that's when it starts, because that's when we start ramping up towards things like, come early October, really, our sort of festive period starts. That's what we sort of refer to it as, because my husband's birthday is in early October. You've then got Halloween, you've got bonfire night. We've then got... there's our wedding anniversary is in October. I forgot that. I should have put that first. His birthday and our wedding anniversary are really close together. We're going away for a little bit for both of those in the UK. I'm really excited. I think I've mentioned it. We're going back to Staves. You've then got Halloween. You've got bonfire night. You then start ramping up for Christmas, and we both love Christmas. We've then got my mum's birthday in early January. You know, there's lots of things to look forward to in that period of time, and that's when it starts really feeling like winter for me. So... or starting, you know, Christmas, I guess, not winter. So for me, my autumn, what I'm considering autumn when I'm talking about autumn plans, are basically September, October, November, because my other aim is that by December, I want to have most of the stuff I'm going to talk about either done or not started, if I've not started it, because I don't know how this is actually going to go, or to a point where I can put it to one side and I leave it till next season, maybe. Because in December, what I'd quite like is to have most of my needles cleared, to be able to focus on Advents and gift knitting and Christmas projects and just getting into the festive spirit. I found last year I was a bit overwhelmed. But first off, I got too many Advents. I got 4. Was it 4? I had the James Makes Yarn Weekly Advent, which I've actually sold on because I decided I just wasn't going to use. I had the Blue Fern Yarns Advent. I had the Corner of Craft Advent. I had the Work Knits Advent. So I had 4, and then I had an Advent swap as well. So I actually had 5 Advents, which is way too much. And I've now ended up using those in scrappy projects because I didn't know what else to do with them. And I was so overwhelmed with them at the time that I couldn't work on them in December. There was too much. And along with that, I had a sample knit, I had a load of gift knitting, I had about 3 test knit deadlines. When we went away over Christmas, I think I took 4 projects with me, and they were all test knits. I had so many deadlines. And I couldn't really just sit back and enjoy. I remember making some socks for my mum for her birthday, and I think they ended up in Vlogmas. I was really, really, really keen to finish them. I was like really working on the day we were going to see them to try and finish these socks off, and it wasn't enjoyable at all. So I'm really hoping that by December I have got most of this cleared off the needles so that I can focus on Advents. I've got 2 Advents this year, 3. But one's a self-striping sock Advent. I got the Spin and Blether self-striping sock Advent because I thought that would be really fun. And then I've got the Creative Anarchy and the Wild Pearl, and that's it. I'm not getting any more. I've got plans with both of them. Both of them are crochet plans. So I'm hoping that I can keep up with both of those things. And then self-striping socks, that's not going to take me long to do in a day. I do sock knitting on meetings a lot. So that's perfect for that. That's me knitting in the round, is that, by the way. So yeah, that's the aim. And then I'm looking forward to maybe doing another one of these. I don't know how this is going to go. I've never done anything like this before. I've done Make 9 before years ago, and it didn't work because I think I made one thing off the Make 9. And actually, weirdly, some of the yarn I'm going to talk about is something that was on that Make 9. God, 4 years ago. Some of my oldest stash. It's not, yeah. So, and it didn't go very well. It was too long. I changed my mind so much in that period. I'm hoping that 3 months is a short enough period that I can not change my mind super amount. A lot of this stuff I've been very, very much wanting to make for quite a while. It's all quite well planned out. I think it's all things I'm going to wear. I've got my notebook down here, which is why I'm looking down there. I thought it would be interesting as well to come back in late November, early December, and do a bit of a roundup what went well, what didn't. Did I make the stuff that I said I was going to make? Did I not? And also, what are my plans for the next season? So December's a bit different. Like I said, I'm going to treat December a bit differently. But January, February, March, I would like to do another one of these, almost like deep winter knits. And that's going to be a bit more, I'm going to choose slightly different things for that because it's a different season. I'm going to choose things that bring me real joy because I find January, February really tough. So things that bring me joy, things that are bright, things that are quite mindful and I've got to be quite present in to do what I'm leaning towards. But again, I've got 3 months, 4 months to plan what I'm going to do there. The other thing that I'm really excited about is that all of these plans are with stash yarn, except for one. Now, we'll talk about it when we come to it. I do have stash yarn in mind for it. I'm not sure if it's going to get gauge, so I might need to. I have got some yarn coming that might work for it. So, yeah, that I'm hoping will work for it if this doesn't. So that's the only thing. Everything else is from stash. Some of it, like I said, is very deep stash. And I've been waffling for 13 minutes and I've not even started telling you about my plans. I've been so excited to film this video that this is all the excitement coming out. But without any further ado, let's get into it. I'm going to have a drink of coffee and then we'll start talking about it. First off, I have 3 projects to talk about that are already on the needles. 2 of which you've seen recently on the podcast. That one I want to finish, one I just want to continue working on, and one is a very long languishing whip that I would like to finish. So they're all linked, so let's start talking about them. The first one I'm going to show briefly is this bad boy. I just want to continue working on this. So I've shown this recently on the podcast. I'm not going to go into huge amounts of detail, like I say. If you want more detail, you can go back onto the podcast. But this is my Sacred Space mandala blanket, which is a pattern by, I've got to lean back to show you this, it's so big. It's a pattern by Helen Shrimpton, who is Crystals and Crochet. It is a crocheted DK weight mandala blanket, 4mm hook. I'm using 5 different colours of Starcraft DK. I'm going to add this to Ravelry along with the next project I'm going to talk about, so that all the details of yarn and stuff will be on there. But I did go into, in the last podcast episode, I did go into more detail about the yarns that I'm using. I want to continue going on this. I don't think I'm going to finish it just because I'm currently about at the end of part 3 of 9 and it's already massive. And because it's a mandala blanket, each round obviously goes around the outside. So there's 6 more parts to do. The rows are already taking me a very long time and they're going to get longer and longer and longer. So I don't think I'm going to finish this in the next sort of 3 months, but I would like to continue going on it because I really don't want this to fall by the wayside. I'm loving it. It's just, you know, as it gets bigger, it's going to take a bit more concentration to work on and a bit more effort to make myself pick it up and work on it. So that is that's the first thing that I want to continue working on, that I want to continue progressing on. The next thing that's sort of linked, in that I'm going to put it on Ravelry because there's multiple different projects, multiple different colours, and I'll forget them. So all the details I'll add onto Ravelry, is this cardigan for my husband. Now I would like to finish this quarter because he would really like this. So I've mentioned before on here, I'm not going to go into detail, I never do, but I've lost quite a bit of weight in the last year, as has my husband. My husband, as he's lost weight, really feels the cold. So he asked me for this cardigan. This is the Pheasant Hunt cardigan by Mary Maxim. It's a vintage pattern, and it's an intarsia, bottom up intarsia cardigan. At the top it's going to have these pheasant designs and hunters as well, but I'm knitting this out of Drops Alaska, so this will be a really nice woolly cardigan for him. He asked for this, he wants me to make this. I would like to finish this in this period for him, this season, because he'll get a lot of wear out of it, and I think he will. I've made him stuff in the past, but because his size has changed, it doesn't fit him very well anymore. It's too big on him. It's not the end of the world with knitwear, is it? Because you can layer, but he would like, it'd be nice for him to have something fitting. And if I get time this season, I would like to make him something else. That's an if I get time, and I haven't planned what I want to do, but maybe something plain instead of intarsia or cabled or whatever, but just something so he's got some nice fitting woolly knitwear that he can really turn to over winter. So yeah, this is a bottom up intarsia cardigan, knitting, I think it's like 7 colours of Drops Alaska I've had to use to get the all of the colours for the colour work. This is one of the sleeves. I've had to add some length because I mentioned in the podcast, again I'll link back to the other podcast because you can go and get more detail there, but he's a lot taller than the measurements given in the pattern, so I've had to add some length. But still, this is on 6mm needles, and this has taken me basically like 2 days worth of knitting. So if I actually sat and focused on this, the intarsia is obviously going to be a bit more difficult, but I don't think it's going to take me very long to get done. So yeah, this is definitely something I want to finish this year. This year I guess, because we're coming to the end of the year, aren't we? This is all of the colours, so you can see this is the sandy colour that I've got here, and this is the grey, and then there's brown, red, green, and there's another colour of sandy. So what's that? Is there 2, 3, 4, 6 colours, I think. Oh no, cream, 7. There is 7 colours, I was right. So yeah, this is just a pattern that's a bit intimidating to me. So I end up putting it off, working on it, but I want to work on that today actually. After we finish filming, I'm going to work on that a bit more. I really rate Drops Alaska. Drops Alaska is going to come up again, but I've discovered this year it's about one of my favourite yarns that I've used this year. I've used it before and didn't really rate him. For whatever reason, this year it's really hit the spot. So yeah, definitely coming back to that. And the final project that I want to finish, this is a very long-standing whip. This is since last year. And this is also for my husband, so this is linked. He asked me last year for some gloves, just some basic stockinette gloves. And I was making, again, these are on an old podcast. Old, it's not that old, is it? But it's probably about this time last year. These are on a podcast around there. These are the very basic Dancing at Lughnasa gloves by Gilmour and Carroll Gilmour. I'll put the pattern on screen. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. That is a bit short, isn't it? I think it should be all right for him, but it's definitely a bit short there. I've just realised I've got loads of extra there. I might need to do something about that. I've finished one glove, and I've cast on the second, but I haven't got very far on it. So I'm knitting these in World of Wool Fluff, which is 100% merino, I'm pretty certain. Yeah, 100% merino 4-ply yarn. This is the shade Fuzzy Duck. This is a really nice yarn, really affordable as well. I don't know if they ship anywhere other than the UK. I look really weird like that now. Also, that makes my hand look way bigger than it is. How big does my hand look? It looks massive. Oh my god, okay. I have got big hands. The reason this fits me and also fits my 6'4" husband is because I have very big hands for a woman, but not that big. Anyway, the name of this I feel is a bit weird. So it's called Fluff, but you can see there, it's not a fluffy yarn. It's a really nicely, I guess it's like chain plied. It's quite a tightly plied 100% merino 4-ply, and it's lovely. They do a DK weight version of this as well. I've got some in a grey that I want to make some stuff for him out of as well. It's lovely, but it's not fluffy. It's just a weird name. Anyway, really affordable yarn, really nice quality and UK based. And he chose the colour and he chose the yarn. This is how far I've got on the second one. But again, he's feeling the cold. He will definitely, I'm going to take this off because this looks stupid. He will definitely benefit from having these. This first one needs blocking. I might block that and just see how it turns out and then go on the second one. And I've started the second. I'm going to have loads of yarn left. I think I'm going to use up all of the first ball and then I've got 2 others, so I could, do something else with it potentially. And yeah, I just need to finish the second glove. He has some other knitted gloves from me that I made before. I think they were called the Fruit Loops gloves or something like that. I made them out of, what on earth is it called? Kinross 4-ply. In the shade, I think Oxford, or a really dark grey shade. I can't remember what it was called. They were lovely. Unfortunately, they got felted in the washing machine early in the year. I don't think he's realised that yet. So I really want to have these before he realises that he can't find his other glove. So yeah, second glove to finish. I just, what it is I don't like knitting gloves. I don't enjoy it. When you get to these bits where you're knitting the fingers, I find them so fiddly. I don't enjoy them. And I really don't like working on DPNs either. When I knit him his other gloves, I worked on a magic loop and that was so fiddly when it came to the fingers that I decided DPNs were the way to go. The trouble is there's just a lot of barriers to entry with this one for me because I don't like it. I like the colour, but it's not something I would necessarily choose. I don't like knitting gloves. I don't gravitate towards knitting gloves and they're not on a method that I like. So I just need to make myself sit down and finish these. And part of the reason I want to finish them is partly because I want him to have some gloves, but partly because of, we're now getting into the plans, but one of the plans that I have. Okay, so those are the projects that I want to finish. We're now going to talk about plans and we're going to start with one that links to this. So, I would like to make my husband, this is my bag of yarn that we're going to be using this year, by the way. I'm so excited for this. I want to make a hat for my husband, a Musselburgh, to go with his gloves. Well, it wasn't initially to go with his gloves, I just thought he might appreciate a hat. And I've shown him the pattern for the Musselburgh. I made my dad a Musselburgh last year. I've shown him the pattern for the Musselburgh. He really likes it. And I think the idea of it being double thickness, because if you're not aware of the Musselburgh is a hat pattern by Ysolda Teague. Essentially, you knit a very long tube that's closed at both ends, and then you sort of push one side inside the other, so you have a double thickness hat. And he really likes the look of it. I think it's a very clean, classic look for a beanie. It's lovely. And I think with the double thickness, I think he'll really appreciate that, because again, feels the cold. And I was originally going to make him one, and I still think I will, but maybe the order will be slightly different. I was originally going to make him one out of this yarn, which is by Dinah's Home of Crafts. The shade is Black Rose. This is a fingering weight sock yarn, I think. Yeah, it's on the front. 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, 425 metres per 100 grams. It's a really beautiful colour. I picked this from East Anglia Yarn Festival, and I picked it specifically with in mind to make something for my husband, whether to make something like socks or a hat, because he would love these colours. These are very much colours that he would love. And I think that would make a beautiful Musselburgh. So that's the one I've picked out to do it with. But then I remembered I had another skein from East Anglia. I'm getting the fuzzy duck back out again because I want to compare. I had another skein that came from East Anglia that was part of the podcaster gift bag. So I didn't buy this myself. This was a gift, which is very, very kind. And I kept it for myself because I thought it might be something, the colour was definitely something that I thought that I might use. And it's exactly the same colour, or very, very close. This one's a little bit more orange toned maybe, but in person, yeah, this one's a little bit more green tone, this one's a little bit more orange tone, but it's very, very close. And this would, again, make a really nice Musselburgh. So this is 100%, sorry, this is fingering weight, 400 metres. This is Folk Yarn Studios East Anglian Blend, I think it says. An East Anglian yarn, and then it says on the back East Anglian Blend. So this is 60% Romney, 20% BFL, 20% Suffolk. So really interesting blend, not super wash, very woolly wool. And I think this is the colourway Roxham. And it's exactly the same, so I could make him some matching gloves and a matching hat to go with them. I think what I might do is, he's seen the pattern, what I might do is show him both of these and say, which do you want first? Do you want the one that matches your gloves, or do you want a different one? And if he likes both, I'm happy to make him both, but if he just wants one, then I'll make that one first, and we'll see. But yeah, I was really pleased to see that that was such close match, and he could have a matching set. I'm going to put that actually in with the gloves so that I remember to tell him and to ask him. Yeah, so that's the first plan I want to make, is the Musselburgh. Which yarn, or whether I make two, is yet to be decided, but that's the first one, is that. So let me put that out of the way now. Okay, the next thing. What order do I want to go through this in? Should we talk about the test knits first? No. Yes. No. No. So let me grab a project to show you. Oh God. She's beauty and she's grace. She nearly fell on her face. I'm so clumsy. Anyway, I want to grab this to show you. So this is the Amelia top by Iris of Iris Makes. I've been talking about this on the podcast. This I want to finish before we go into the next season, but I'm planning on making multiple of these. So I want to make a series, I've talked about this so many times, where I make the same pattern, multiple times in the same, in different yarns, to highlight different, yarn substitutions and the way that you'll get different fabrics. So this is a 100% cotton version, and it's not super far off being finished, actually. It's probably about at my belly button, yeah. So I've got the rest of the body and the sleeves and the neckline to do, and then it's done. And it's just a really nice, simple t-shirt, basically. So I want to make more of these, obviously, because that's the idea of the series. And I'm going to make another version of that, and I'm going to make it in this fabulous green. It is not quite as neon as it's coming up on screen. Can I get you a bit more of a realistic? That's a little bit more realistic. It looks really neon on screen, and it's not that neon. This is, I want to make I just noticed something weird. I'll show you in a second. I want to make an Amelia, like I say, out of it, but I want to make 100% acrylic Amelia, and that's what this is. So this is Wendy Supreme DK, I think in the shade Lime. This is what I was frowning at, so let me cover that for a minute. You can see shade name somewhere. Got my hand in the way. Shade name Lime there. But for whatever reason, somebody Somebody at the shop I got this from has written apple on it. I don't know. I will try and find out which shade it is, because there's a shade code as well, so I will try and find out if it's shade lime or apple. This is 100% acrylic. Wendy is a really affordable acrylic, but it doesn't, I mean, it's not the nicest acrylic I've ever felt, but it's also not super squeaky from what I can tell. So this is going to be fun, and I think this will really suit me. So this is going to be my next Amelia. I am debating whether I make this short sleeved or long sleeve, but I'll finish the first one first and see how I go with this. So this is very definitely going to be something I want to make over the next 3 months, and I think this will be a really nice pop of colour in that time of year, and something bright to work on. It's also a really satisfying pattern to work on. I'm going to mention another of Iris's. In fact, I'm going to mention two more. I'm going to mention another of Iris's patterns. And I should note, if you want to get any of Iris's patterns, the Amelia, any of her other release patterns, I have an affiliate code in the link down below. If you use my discount code and my link, it gets you 10% off as many patterns as you would like to buy from Iris. I get a little bit of payment back from that as a thank you. If you don't want to use my code, I would still very highly recommend you go and look at Iris's patterns, because I really, really rate them. That's why I chose to be an affiliate. I applied to be an affiliate because I love her patterns. And then we'll go into test knits, because one of them is from Iris. So I mentioned that obviously pulling out of tests and not having so many tests is part of the reason that I am actually able to do this planning video this year. And yeah, that's completely correct. But I have 2 tests, that's it. No more, I'm not signing up for any more. And I think both of them I'm really excited about, and both of them I think will be quite quick to complete. So the first one I've actually cast on. I'm going to talk to you about the first one here. This is another pattern by Iris, if Iris makes. So this is the Edale Sweater. There's a bit of a story behind this. I need to go into a bit of depth with this, and actually then one of the other things we're going to talk about. So let me explain. So this year I felt has been a bit hit and miss with my projects. I don't feel like I've had massive amounts of success with a lot of things I've made. Some of the things that I've made already this year, genuinely, I've got rid of already. There's only a couple of things that I've finished for myself. There are other things that have been successful, like my emotional sport chicken that I made for my mum. But garments that I've made for myself, there's only really been a couple that I've gone, yeah, I really like that, and that I genuinely want to wear. So particularly one of those was the Edale Sweater that I made earlier in the year, which is a pattern by Sophie of the Knit Pearl Girl. I will pop a picture on screen somewhere, wherever. I really enjoyed knitting that. I knit it earlier in the year in January. I knit it in a week. It was so quick to knit. I loved the construction of it. I loved the yarn. We're going to talk a bit more about that yarn in a minute. And I just found from the moment I finished it, I wore it so much. I think there was a period of probably about 3 months until it got a bit warm where I had it on pretty much every single day. I definitely had it on at least once a week, if not multiple times a week. It's just such a perfect garment, and I've been trying so hard to try and recreate that, particularly as we're coming out into the sea. It's a roll neck or a high neck. I didn't do the roll neck in the end. I just did the sort of the mock neck. Top down contiguous construction garment, very oversized, made in Aran weight yarn on 5mm needles. I can't actually remember the needle size. Might have even been 5.5. You right there? Oh, she'd been filming that. Her face then was ridiculous. You okay? Want to go up here? No. And yeah, I just wore it so much, but it's it then got into the wrong time of year for it. Now it's coming back into it. I've already had it on once in this. So this when we had a cold day, I was like, Edale Sweater straight away. I love it. And I was trying to work out what it was. I think part of it was the yarn, and I think part of it is the yarn, and I think part of it is the garment itself. So the high neck worked really well. I don't like them too tight on me because I just don't think that's a very flattering look on me. But the mock neck worked quite nicely, and it's quite an oversized fit. I think it gives me about sort of 12 inches of positive ease, which is not something I would normally go for, but I really love that. And I think it works really well in that garment because it's very oversized. It's really cozy, comfy. If I'm bloated, if I'm on my period, if I don't feel very good, if I'm feeling a bit sorry for myself, if I'm having a bit of a low day mentally, having something like that on that is a big, cozy, comfy hug, but also looks good without me having to worry about, is my belly showing, or, I can just be comfortable in it, is incredible. But then I also find, because it's got that neckline that's a little bit more fitted, doesn't look too big, and I can wear that at work really easily. It looks really classy. So I think it's a combination of things. And I decided that the yarn and the yarn is the brown of that is Kremke recycled wool, sole wool, which I'm going to show you some more of in a minute. And the grey, because I didn't quite have enough of that to finish the whole thing, the grey is Drops Alaska. And that was the one I used it in where I went, okay, I love this. I blocked it and it was just incredible. So I was really, really drawn to the Edale sweater when Iris put up a test knit call, because it's a very similar sort of style and silhouette to the Ecken sweater. It's got that sort of mock neck again. It should be a really nice fit with the ribbon down. I really like the look of the first sweater that's in testing from the Crea Bayer as well, and that's the same with the ribbon down the sides. And I just instantly thought, yeah, I want to apply for that. And the best bit is I've got Drops Alaska in stash that would hit the gauge, because it is again an Aran weight gauge. So I have cast on with this. I've not done much. I've cast on. I'm making size D. I've done the tubular cast on, which took me a while, and then I've done what, like maybe not even a full inch of 2x2 rib. But I'm so excited to have this. Like I say, Drops Alaska in the shade navy, colour 37. Yeah. Drops Alaska is 100% wool, Aran weight. It comes in 50 gram balls, and 50 grams gives you 70 meters, but it's very cost effective. I do need to get some more of this navy, because I got this from one of my friends, Mona, who she'd used this for a project. She had some left over. She didn't want to use it anymore. So I think I've got about six, 7 balls. I've got quite a bit of it, but it's not going to be enough to make the full thing. So I do need to buy a little bit extra, but it's going to use up all of this that I've got in stash. And yeah, I'm so excited. So excited for this. So I cast it on straight away. I couldn't help myself, but I'm going to now hold off until September, and then I'm really going to push for that as well. I'm going to start pushing forward. I'm hoping, similar to the Ecken, this might actually be like a week worth of work, and I'm almost tempted to do what I was going to do with the Ecken. So I'd originally intended with the Ecken to do a bit of a vlog of can I knit the sweater in a week, and then it was around the time I was having an operation, and it was just too much, so I didn't do it. But I think I might with this, see if I can knit it in a week and start from here, so I've got a little bit going, but see if I can do it. So watch this space, that might be coming. So that's my first test knit. That's due in October. I feel like mid to late October. So like I said, I don't think it's going to take me that long to do, and I'm so excited for the finished item of this. Blue is not really a colour with the colour that I really gravitate towards, but it's quite a cool toned blue. And cool tones, I'm learning, seem to suit me really well, and I think this will be something that I wear a lot. So yeah, very excited for that one. Yeah, this other one is a test that I have been watching the design process for this for ages. I knew I wanted to apply for the test, and I did as soon as it came out, and I got the test knit. So this is the Lucy cardigan for the Knit Pearl Girl. Sophie of the Knit Pearl Girl and Iris of Iris Makes are probably my 2 most knit from designers. There are a few that I absolutely love, but Sophie and Iris particularly are probably my favourites, and particularly Sophie. This will be let me see if I can count this. I think this is the 6th test I've done for Sophie. It might actually be more than that, and she's got a couple of things coming up that might up as well. I just love her designs. And I have knit another one of her patterns. In fact, I don't think I've finished it, but one of the first ever patterns I tried to tackle was the Ysolda cardigan, so I've got multiple other of her patterns in my library. But the Lucy cardigan, so the Lucy cardigan is the same kind of stitch pattern, I think, to the Ysolda pattern, that Andalusian stitch, but it's a different construction, and I love the construction of it. And so since she's been sharing this, I've been so excited to cast this on. And I have some yarn in stash that I want to use for it, which is this. So this is, I've never heard of this before. This is Esteem DK from Woolcraft. So this was a gift. Leah, my friend Leah of the Ruby and Knits podcast, Leah Ramber Knits, bought me this as a birthday present. She found it in her local yarn shop. She got herself some, and she basically sent me a picture and said, is this what I wanted? This is in the shade black, and you can see it's a really nice mild black. So this is, it says it's 100% recycled fibre. So it's 50% recycled acrylic, 30% recycled cotton, and 20% recycled polyester. 100 grams gives you 230 metres, and I think I've got like 1,300, 1,400 metres of this. I've got quite a lot of it. It's a DK weight, and it's quite a thick DK weight. It's a really interesting fibre to knit with. I don't know if this is easily available. It was in one of her local yarn shops in essentially the bargain bin, so I don't know if this is easily available, but it wasn't very expensive. And I found when I swatched with it, because I've swatched with the Lucy, and it was so perfectly on gauge. I was so happy. but it's a really interesting fibre to work with. It doesn't feel like acrylic. It doesn't feel like cotton, doesn't feel like polyester. It almost feels a bit woolly, but it's clearly not because it's got no wool in it. So really interested to see how this works out. And yeah, it was perfectly on gauge for the Lucy, and the swatch looked lovely. I wish I'd taken a picture of it. I actually unwound it because, of course, I did. That's generally what I do with my swatches. But because it's got this mild to it, which is almost like a lighter core, almost. It made the Andalusian stitches really pop. It looked lovely, and I think this will be so wearable as sort of not a fully black. So this top that I'm wearing is fully black, and you can see it shows up against that, but it'll be so wearable, a black cardigan. So really, really excited for this. Can't remember the size I'm knitting. I've swatched. I'm so excited to cast on. I just want to finish a couple of bits and then start this in September. This again is due in October. I don't think it'll take me that long to knit. So that's that one. And now we get into, there's 3 more to talk about. Is that right? Yeah, there's 3 more to talk about. 1 more cardigan, 2 more jumpers. I'm going to leave the surprise to the last because you'll be shocked that I'm knitting from this particular designer. We'll talk about the next one. I've cast this one on as well, and this is also influenced by Leah. So this is the deepest stash yarn that I have. It doesn't normally come in these cakes. Let me show you a ball. It's a bit more indicative. It normally comes in balls. This is King Cole Recycled Forest Aran. I'm going to have to put the composition on screen or in the description box or something because it is a recycled yarn. I can't remember the makeup of this. This is a really affordable recycled Aran yarn. However, can you see? It's not a very thick Aran. If I compare that to that Woolcraft DK, which I did say was a bit of a thick DK, didn't I? But not that thick. I don't know if you can see there. It's thinner than that DK. And I've had a real weird response with relationship with this. So I bought this. God, it'd be back in 2021. I bought this. Christ. This has got to be deepest stash. So the first year I worked at my current company, I've been there nearly 4 years. It was Christmas and they weren't doing Christmas parties because it was in the middle of COVID. It was 2021. They weren't doing Christmas parties, and instead of that, everybody got a voucher to spend at a store of their choice. And I spent it at John Lewis, and I got yarn because, of course, I did. This has been a problem with me for years. This is like my 2nd year knitting, and I got this. I got like 5 balls of it, fully intending to make a single malt sweater for my husband. Didn't really understand gauge at the time. Hadn't really made many garments, and I did start knitting it. I got most of the way through the yoke, and the trouble was I just cast on. It said Aran weight yarn, so I just cast on with this with 5mm needles, and I didn't swatch, and it was getting gauge just about, but it was so holy. It was such an open gauge, and I also didn't. I think I mentioned it in another podcast before. I also didn't even measure him. I just went, oh, well, he wears an XL, so he'll be an XL, or he wears a large, so he'll be a large. I'll just make a large. I didn't ever measure him. So I had no confidence that it was going to fit. The fabric wasn't really suitable for it. So I ended up ripping that out, and I've still got the yarn in stash, and I've swatched it for multiple things, and it just never quite works. It doesn't work for Aran for me because it's a little bit too light, but it also doesn't work for DK generally because it's a little bit too heavy. And I've really struggled. It's a lovely yarn. You can see this is in the shade Grisdale Forest. I don't know if you can see. It's a tweedy yarn, so it's got like blue and red flecks in it. The tweed's not coming up very well in camera, but it's a lovely sage green colour, which looks nice on me, looks nice on my husband. And Leah of the same Ruby and Pearls podcast the other day was talking about she had cast on the Fidalgo Cardigan by Michelle Frizenda. Sorry, I had to check there. Her username on Instagram and things is Mishifraz Makes, or just Mishifraz. Michelle Frizenda. I don't know if she's a relatively new designer. This is a new design that she's come out with, and I'll pop a picture on screen again because it is incredible. It is so gorgeous. I really love it. So this is a top-down drop shoulder cardigan, contiguous. I don't really know what you class it as. Essentially, I've cast on already. Like I said, I've not done much because again, I'm gonna focus on this in September. You cast on here and you knit a little bit of your back button band, which is what this little bit is at the top. And then you pick up from the bottom of your button band, you work a back panel. It's in broken rib, which you can sort of see, but it's not showing up very well on camera. It shows up better in person. It looks lovely. And I've seen with Leah's, the more you knit, the more it shows up as well. You do your back trapezoid like you would, and then you pick up along. I think you then pick up along here and you work, essentially what I'm trying to get at is you work your button band at the same time as the rest of the body. And you use the same needle size for your button band as well. So it's just a ribbed button band, broken ribbon, the cardigan. I think it looks so nice. I spotted this on Instagram when it came out, and I didn't initially buy it because I hadn't realised it was such an interesting construction. And then when Leah said that and I saw her knitting it, I straight away, yeah, okay, absolutely, I get that. So I bought it there and then because it still had the release day discount on it, which was quite nice. And yeah, this is going to be the Fidalgo cardigan. This gets gauged perfectly, finally. I can't remember the gauge of it. I think it is an Aran weight gauge, but I was really struggling. It's a worsted weight gauge. This is like the 4th, 5th thing I've swatched for with this yarn. This is the only one that's ever worked. So yeah, this is what it's going to be, the Fidalgo cardigan, and I'm really happy with how this is coming out. Again, I really wanted to keep working on this. I put it to one side because I needed to finish other things first. I want to finish my sample for Blue Fern yarns, finish my Amelia, finish my emotional sport chicken, and then be able to just focus on all this fun stuff in September, October, November. But I'm really excited for this. Again, a colour that really suits me. I think will be very wearable, will go nicely over a lot of things, and yeah, finally using this yarn up, which I'm so happy about. I do really like the yarn. If I was buying it again, I would probably buy a different colour. Again, I bought this with my husband in mind, and it's just not a colour that I'm super over enamoured with. But I think it'll suit me. It would suit him as well if I wanted to make it for him. And the yarn's nice. It does block lovely. But yeah, I've just had such a problem with getting gauge on anything with it that yeah, I'm really happy that this is working out. So that's very definitely the next one. And then 2 more. So this is the one I wanted to talk about that I have yarn, but I'm not entirely convinced this is going to work for it, which is a shame because I'd really like to use this. So the next one I want to make is, again, inspired by Leah. I am easily swayed. Are you getting this? This is the Penta Pullover. Penta Pullover by James N. Watts. And again, I've seen Leah making this. I hadn't even seen this. I don't know how I hadn't, because I follow him on Instagram and it's very much my kind of thing. But she shared her picture of it as she was making hers as a whip. She's talked about this in one of her recent podcasts, so again, go watch that. She made hers in, I think, James C. Brett Emotions yarn. Basically, this is a really interesting construction again. So yeah, the Penta Pullover is really hard to say. I should have thought of that before I decided to make it. It's a really interesting construction. So essentially, as the name might suggest, it's knit in pillars, Penta pillar, 5 pillar. So it's knit in strips, essentially. I think you start at one side and you basically knit across, joining the strips as you go. And this works really well with colour changing yarn. So I saw Leah do it. I went and dug into the patterns on Ravelry. I think it's intended to be made with Noro. There is a version that's like checkerboards instead of stripes. Yeah, annoyingly, all the colours that I really liked were knit with Noro. And it's just not something I can, I mean, it's not even really hugely accessible in the UK, I don't think, Noro. Maybe one day I'll treat myself to some Noro. Oops, and make myself one. Yeah, I don't want to do that yet. There was another couple of versions. So Ali Makes Everything made one out of, I think, some Barocco yarn that was really nice. And there is an incredible version on Ravelry, which I don't know if it's okay. I never know if it's okay to share people's project pictures on here, but I might link it down below instead of sharing the pictures on YouTube. But I love it, and I keep looking for that yarn. And it's available on Lovecrafts, but it was out of stock when I checked last. I may get that at some point to make one. But I've got this in stash. This is Pebble Haze Prince DK Yarnsmiths, my favourite yarn of last year. This is a blown yarn, cotton acrylic, so 67% acrylic, 67% cotton, 33% acrylic. This is the shade Peppercorn, which is 2D030. And you can see it's a really steady gradient, so it should work really nicely for the Penta pillar in terms of colour and fade, because the ones that I like the most are the ones that have got a steady fade rather than stripes. The trouble is I am not entirely convinced that this will get gauge. So it's a DK weight, I think it's technically a DK weight pattern, but the gauge is like 18 stitches. I might struggle with this, especially with it being a blown yarn. It's not going to bloom, so it might be a bit too much of an open gauge. So I will swatch with this, but I have ordered some yarn. I've ordered some yarn from Wool Warehouse for Leah for her birthday because, like I said, she bought me a birthday present. I wanted to get her some. She's picked some yarn she would like. That is coming. And along with it, partly to get free shipping and partly because I knew I was going to be a little bit concerned about this, the closest that I could find to Norah without paying Norah prices was, particularly an Aran weight gauge, because I think that's what I might need, was Serdar jewel spun, particularly the ombre. So some of the non-ombre ones were nice, but they still got a little bit of striping in, and I really wanted to avoid that. But the Serdar jewel spun ombre, and I was struggling a bit to pick between colours, because there's a green that's lovely, but I always pick green. There's a red that's lovely, but I don't really wear them very much. There's a blue that I've seen Leah knitting that's gorgeous, but again, don't really wear blue very much. And then there was a black and grey and white one, and I thought, yeah, that could look really nice. So that's arriving hopefully today, maybe Monday. And if this doesn't work, that will be what. If this doesn't work, or if I decide I want a bit more of a maybe wearable piece, certainly wearable for work. Black and white and grey and stuff would be really wearable for work. This might be a little bit less so. But I still think it would make a nice one. Maybe I make a t-shirt version out of this at slightly different gauge and adjust it if need be, and maybe I make a jumper version out of the other one. It is intended to be a t-shirt, but I've seen people do long sleeve modifications. Leah did a long sleeve modification, so that would be doable as well. But I think this would look really fun. And then the final one, this is probably the one that I've been most excited about for the entire year, really, for quite a while. And this is a bit of a weird one for me, so bear with me, don't click off. I said we were going to talk about Kremke sole wool, and that's what I want to use for this next one, this last one. This is okay, there's a couple of things here. This is again another one that's like chasing the Ekin, chasing the success of the Ekin sweater. And this is where I'm going for the same wool. So this is the yarn I used for the brown of the Ekin sweater. Kremke sole wool, reborn wool recycled. Really, really catchy name. These are in the shades 23 and 22. 23 and 22. I don't know what those colours are. The one I knit in before, I'm pretty certain, was called Chestnut. So these I got from a D-stash earlier in the year. I have 3 of each colour, and I got these having known how much I loved working with that Kremke in Chestnut. They're not super expensive anyway. They're an Aran weight yarn, I think. I guess technically DK weight, 100 grams is 250 metres, but it is quite a thick DK, and I did it at an Aran weight gauge before, and I got... it is the same, isn't it? I did it at an Aran weight gauge before, and I got the gauge really, really well. You can see on the light grey particularly, it's quite a plump yarn. It's entirely recycled wool. So it says this hand knitting, your contribution to slow fashion, this hand knitting yarn has been made with the utmost care and love from 100% post-garment recycled textiles. The yarn has been made to be kind to the environment by diverting old clothes that were destined to landfill without the use of any dyes or harmful chemicals and very little water. So it is, I don't think it even gives you... it does, sorry. 65% wool, 25% acrylic, polyacryl. Where's the English on it? Oh, there we go, third one. 65% wool, 25% acrylic, and 10% nylon. I think they're all the same. Yeah, they're all the same composition. So I've got 3 skeins of each, so I've got 750 metres of each of these 2 colours. And I was I wanted to make, again, things that are similar to the Ekin in terms of their vibe. Their oversizedness, the kind of silhouette, because clearly that's something that I'm very drawn to. So with having 2 colours, I thought something stripy would be good. I also wanted to make a series. I started earlier in the year and I just didn't finish. But I've still kept this idea. Now I've got a bit more brain space of, I'm not somebody who knits from the big designers very often. I don't knit. I've never knit, I don't knit from Sari Nordland, Andrea Maury. I've never really knit much Stephen West. I've knit a couple of his patterns, Jorge Locatelli. I don't really knit from the big designers. My favourite things, Augustine's. And I thought it would be really interesting to challenge my perceptions of that a little bit and to try some of the bigger designers and see what the fuss is all about, basically, and just be sort of critical but open, not intentionally critical, but cast a critical eye over them. Do I think they're good? Do I think they're bad? Do I get the hype? What do I like about them? What don't I like about them? And maybe learn a bit more about myself and what I like in pattern styles, and also see if these are actually any good. I sort of think that there must be a reason why they're so popular, so maybe let's see what the reason is. And that being said, that is the aim with these. Now, don't leave. Those of you that are here because I don't knit from this designer, don't leave. I'm going to knit a petite knit pattern. I know. Pattern part of the reason I don't knit from petite knit is because generally a lot of her stuff I'm just not very drawn to. There are occasions when I really do like things, but for the most part, things like the slipovers she does, slipovers not really my vibe. Things like the Oslo, the Copenhagen sweater, it's not called that, is it? Stockholm sweater and things like that. And the cardigans, the Eva cardigan, they're lovely, but I just think they're so basic that I could find something similar and a bit more interesting from a smaller designer, maybe a UK based designer who I maybe want to support a bit more, because petite knit doesn't need another podcaster talking about how nice their stuff is, whereas some of the other people might benefit from having somebody talking about them. That's part of it. But every so often there is something that comes along that she does that I'm like, I like that, I love that, I want to make that. And this is one of them. So these are going to become a key sweater. I really like this. I think these colours will look gorgeous with it to start with. You can see the kind of tweedy, and I think these will look gorgeous. I think this is going to be the main colour and this is going to be the contrast, because I've got it in my head as a dark sweater with light contrast. I've got enough yarn of both to do it either way. It's got the same kind of vibe as the Ecken. It's got the mock neck, it's oversized, but I love that colour work. I really, really like that colour work. And I can see that being something I wear a lot, particularly in these colours. So I was really drawn to that as soon as I saw it. I originally bought, I think, the key cardigan, but I think I would wear a sweater more. Certainly knowing how much I wear the Ecken, I think I would wear a sweater more. So these are going to be the key sweater. And I'm going to, it smells so good. It smells so good. It still smells sheepy, despite the fact that it's recycled. Anyway, sheep are still sheep, aren't they? Sorry about that. I can't remember what I was saying. I've been waiting for them to call to sort out my broadband, basically. All the exciting stuff you have to do when you're an adult. What was I talking about? Petite knit? Something. What was I saying? Yeah, I'm interested to try and see what I genuinely think. And there are others on this list. Petite knit is obviously the biggest hitter, and I've been so excited to make the key sweater because from the moment I got this yarn, I was really keen to, it sort of jumped out to me that this would be really good for this. But there are others on the list. So names that sprang to mind: Sari Nordland. I bought a couple of her patterns, and I've got a plan maybe in the new year that I want to make the Colette sweater, particularly from her. I think that's absolutely gorgeous. Hohi Locatelli was another one. Like I said, my favourite thing's knitwear, Augustine's. The trouble with Augustine's particularly is finding something that is my style, because I love their patterns, but I look at it and go, that's great, I'd never wear it. So finding something that my style, it would be interesting. Lily Kate makes, I've just not had time to make one from her yet. I started making the Calm Down cardigan, I messed it up, I never went back to it, but I'd like to make that at some point. Who else? Stephen West. I have made a couple of things from Stephen West. I've knit Kinship. I've knit the Kinship shawl, and I've knit the Dustland socks for my dad. But I feel like the Dustland socks are a very tame Stephen West pattern. And Kinship was lovely, but it was done in collaboration with somebody else. So just to out and out knit a Stephen West pattern, I've never done that, and that might be quite interesting. But then, yeah, other designers, Andrea Mowry, I've knit a pattern from her before that I ended up gifting because I didn't like the neckline, so I kind of try another one, see what I think to it. The Creya Bea, I've never knit anything from her. There's quite a lot of the bigger designers that I've just never knit from. Hohi I mentioned, Hohi Locatelli, I've never made anything from her. There's a lot of bigger designers I've never knit anything from, so starting with petite knit with the key sweater, but there's a lot that I would like to try, and like I say, cast a bit of a critical eye over it. But a bit of an unbiased view as well, not go into it expecting it to not be good, but also not go into it expecting it to be great, and just sort of see what I actually genuinely think of it and be honest about my thoughts about it. I know petite knit appeals to beginners a lot, so do I think it's suitable for that? Do I not? What would I change? Do I like the style? And like I say, try and learn some stuff about me through it as well. Like I say, going to continue on with the series of knitting the Amelia by Iris. This is the next one. I have plans for many more. And there's some socks that I want to do in there as well. I want to finish off some socks I've already got on the needles. I want to make some socks for Christmas gifts, but that's probably going to come into December. So yeah, I am so excited to get started. I am basically going to go and sit and edit this, and I'm going to work on my Amelia whilst I do that, so that I can get some of that cleared off, because I really want to get my needles more clear so that I can pick this stuff up and start on in September. And I'm so excited. I might, through the month, film little clips of me working, and then when we do a recap at the end of November, through the 3 months, and then when we do a recap at the end of November, I might slip some sort of footage in of how it's gone. But I'm so excited to do this. I'm really, really hoping that you guys like this, because I'd love to come back and do it more. And I hope you've maybe found some inspiration. I'm not somebody who, the likes of Emily from High Fibre Knits and things like that, who do really beautiful mood boards and trends and look at knitting trends. That's not me. I tend to go for, okay, what have I got in stash that I want to use? What do I like that would work for that? When do I want to make it? And particularly when I am trying to focus on using stuff from stash, that's where all of this sort of comes in as well. But I'm hoping you still find some inspiration from this, and I would love to know what you've been knitting on whilst I've been chattering away, because this is going to be a long video, or crafting or whatever making you've been doing, and also what are you planning to make for autumn? What have you got on your wish list that you really want to make, that now's the time? And are you planning on making any of these? Because if you are, let's run a little MCAL meaning mini knit along, not mystery knit along in that circumstance. Let's make them together, and whether it's Musselburgh, whether it's you want to finish let's do a finish it project, and I can finish them bloody gloves, they can stop hanging over me. Whether you're going to cast on the Fidalgo cardigan or anything like that, let me know, DM me, whatever, contact me on Ravelry, and we'll inspire each other to do it together. So yeah, thank you very much for being here with me today. Let me know what you're most excited for me to see. Let me know which of these designs you are most excited to see from me doing as well, because I'm very excited to knit them all. I really am. There's a lot here. I don't know, like I said at the beginning, I don't know how well this is going to go. I don't know if I'm going to get all of this done. I don't know if this is too much. There is a lot of stuff on bigger needles. All of this is, I think the lightest is the Musselburgh, which will be fingering weight, but the rest, everything is DK or Aran. So hopefully they should all be relatively quick projects in that aspect. But we'll see, and then I can sort of judge from that what how much do I plan moving forwards, what do I do, what do I not do. But yeah, I'm so excited to get stuck in. Thank you very much for being here and listening to me ramble yet again, guys. It's lovely to be able to share this sort of stuff with you, and I can't wait to see how this goes. I really can't. Yeah, that's everything I wanted to chat about you today about. So have a lovely afternoon, evening, weekend, whatever it is, wherever you are, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye, guys.